Welcome back to Oh No They Died, my own take on the kill count, even though the title video still says kill count. Anyway, we're currently going through the Kingdom Hearts series, and the next on your list of games to cover is Kingdom Hearts 2. Everything we see in this game will be counted, because it's a brand new adventure. The only thing I won't be counting is the opening sequence with Roxas. That will be all cleared up later in the game. So, without further ado, let's begin the adventure. The game begins with summer vacation, just exactly when 358/2 days ends, but we are going to be skipping this for the kill count because there is no key features to address, so we will be starting off from when Sora wakes up from his year-long sleep. During this game we will be counting people's deaths, meaning anything that resembles a person in that world. For example, we play as a lion later, so in that world any animal will be counted as a person, same for anything else that may fit. Heartless deaths are going to be counted along with nobodies and a little bonus category called others. This will be counted as something that is not a heartless or a nobody, or like I mentioned with the lions. If a game forces us to fight, then indeed it will be vanquished, and we'll be adding that to the counting. But again, there's going to be a lot of problems when it comes to counting because there's going to be a lot of things happening at once. And we got to count a lot of things. I will give you a hint and a little preview. There's more than 1,000 heartless deaths in this game. Anyway, let's get this kill count started. Our story really begins with the awakening of Sora after his 1 year long sleep. So the first thing we need to do is go meet the gang. And the first thing we count is outside the train station where our new enemies come to say hello. In this first fight, we deal with 19 nobodies as Sora. But during a cutscene, King Mickey comes to our rescue as Sora feels the fatigue for not fighting for over the year in the Chamber of Sleep. And in this scene, Mickey takes out 5 more nobodies just for us. A little side note I would like to add before we actually get into the counting of this. We are going to be swapping backwards and forward, not backwards and forward, sorry. It's going to be a bit awkward because a lot of story is going to be skipped out, so it's going to be broken down a little bit over time. I might sound more fatigued in some parts of this video. I may sound less fatigued in some other parts because it's all being recorded in sections, because last time I read all through and then get confused on myself, so instead I'm going to be doing it completely different. And we may have already counted somewhere on the list, but we're going to try and add some backing tracks. Don't hold me to that because it's going to be hard to do. But I do have probably the original soundtrack somewhere, because I am a Kingdom Hearts nerd, and I love the series. Anyway, the first actual world we visit, apart from starting off in Twilight Town, is a little place called Mysterious Tower. We get here because once Mickey kicks the crap out of all the nobodies, he sends us on our ways to go meet Master Didnt, which leads us to the Mysterious Tower. Anyway, in this new world, after saying goodbye to our new friends, we see one of the new bad guys of the game, good old Pete. I'm bringing this up now because he brought us some old friends to come out and play. And during this little play date, we deal with 8 heartless caused by because Pete is such a nice guy. While traversing the tower, we stop at individual rooms along the way up the tower. In the first room, we take out 12 heartless. In the second floor, there is 9 heartless waiting for us inside one of the open rooms. And at the very top, we come into contact with old Master Didnt, where the old coot explains the new dangers that we are facing and about the nobodies. After our little talk, we get changed into our new costumes, meet the 3 fairies, Fauna, Merryweather and that other person, and along with this comes our first change of the game. We get a new power called the Valor power, or Valor, and it's a form, and in this new form we get 2 Keyblades, which is going to help a great deal. Some more things I would like to mention as well. I do apologise for how I'm reading this. I have written out the script while playing along with the game. It did take a long while, that's why there's not been any Danganronpa on the channel, but obviously there's going to be some now, but I'm just saying, like, from then and there, from then and now, there's not been no dangin'. But anyway, that's back, and that's fine. So I'm not very good at the reading because I don't know when to pause my own writing, which is very, very annoying, but I'm going to try and do better at that. Anyway, one thing I did forget to mention as well, on this adventure, when we travel to new worlds, we are going to be dealing with gummy ships. Now, in the previous game, well, not the previous game, in Kingdom Hearts 1, we didn't count these because they were just ships. You can go through the worlds and levels without shooting any of them as well, so they're not really canon, even though you do fight some bosses along the way. But I will not be counting these in any of the games unless I am forced to fight a boss fight like you do in Kingdom Hearts 3. But we're not on to that yet. Anyway, new world. This is great. Well, it's not a new world, it's an old one. Anyway, okay, what do we see? Anyway, when we arrive in Hollow Bastion, we are introduced to some of our old friends, which is a no big deal. However, along with seeing them again, we also encounter some more nobodies. 6 of them, to be exact. When meeting up with Leon, he points us to the castle that we once explored back in Kingdom Hearts, but a new threat is showing up. With this meeting, we come face to face with the remaining members of Organisation 13, which they brought us a little welcoming party, a party that contained 20 nobodies. After dealing with the bad guys, the world shows us where the new keyhole is hiding, all locked with an item attached to that world. In this case, it is a Restoration Hollow Bastion Committee or something like that. Every world has like a specific item on the first visit. The second visit locks up in a different kind of way. The locking is basically stops. I don't know. I'm a massive Kingdom Hearts nerd. In the first one, it made sense because you lock the keyhole, Heartless turn up, but more Heartless. I think it stops more Heartless coming in through the darkness of the keyhole. So you locked it like, okay, cool, no one comes up. I think that's how it works. Obviously, when Maleficent is there, she can summon them anyway, and same with any of the bad guys. So that does also help. Just putting that little tad bit of information out there as well. So now the adventure really begins. Our first destination is meeting with an old friend, Mushu, where the villain in this world has been tainted by the darkness. Of course, we are following the story of Mulan, so I won't be mentioning anything from that. But everything else that is related to Kingdom Hearts, and if it's important enough, I will be adding it. When we arrive into the camp to greet the other fellas, we are attacked by Heartless. And in this first fight, we take out 11. Of the bitches. After the fight is over, we come face to face with the General, which in turn leaves us to do missions. Canon missions with Heartless! In the first mission, we deal with 13 Heartless. And in the second mission, there was 11 more of them. And in the third mission, 8 more Heartless came to us. The screenshot showed 7, but I assure you there was 8. That's going to happen a lot, by the way. That was our net fight. After showing not so great strength, a 4th mission was handed to us, where we had to climb up a mountain. On the said mountain, we encountered 13 more Heartless. When we get to the village, our faithful companion Mushu gives us some information leading us into a cave. Instead of fighting Shan Yu, if you don't know Mulan, that's the big bad guy, we fight a bunch of Heartless instead. 38 of them, to be exact. Sadly though, after that little fight, the village where we once were has now been reduced to rubble. But we don't know if there was any people who lived in these houses, so I can't really go counting people here. If I saw people, I would have counted them. If not, then, well. So instead, off to the summit we go, where we exact our vengeance of the dead village. Where there is a lot of Heartless waiting for us, and I mean a lot. But thankfully, the game was nice enough to give us a little counter, so yay. And at the end of that time, I managed to take out 58, which I think you could kill less, but hey, that's what I got, so we're going with it. Another tricky thing to place happens in the following cutscene. Mulan fires rockets at Shan Yu, and I think 20 Heartless, but when a Heartless dies, a heart is released indicating that they did die, but I didn't see any during the avalanche. So, I'm going to be a brave boy and not count them, seeing as the Heartless could have easily vanished to avoid damage. Heading back to the city, Shan Yu makes his presence known, with some heavy fatigue showing in some of our men. Darkness quickly takes 3 of them, turning them into Heartless.
Guard the palace! Do not let the enemy get anywhere near the Emperor! That's an order!
And thus, another battle ensues. The 3 men that was changed get defeated along with 4 more foes, joining the fray. With this final fight against Shan Yu, we get to say goodbye to our new friends. I'm not going to put Shan Yu on the count because he didn't look dead, just knocked out. So I'm making the decision of not to add him, which is quite hilarious considering I looked up information of a previous in a different level to find that out. But I'm not adding him here. He just looks knocked out. Plans got changed halfway through this video. I will tell you that now. So on to the next world with a familiar face, just like before. I'm only adding the story elements that are related to the Kingdom Hearts, but not building the Beast story. And as soon as Sora enters the castle, we know the Heartless are already here, and chasing after it leads Sora into a room full of them. And I mean full of them. They never stop coming, and stupid me forgot to actually count them, like I normally do, so taking a rough guess from what I captured, I'm guessing 54 Heartless was taken out. After this throwdown, Beast comes to the rescue and helps himself to killing 5 of the Heartless. Leaving us be, we have a chance to explore the castle. In doing so, we run into Belle, who is having issues with the Beast and is worried about the patrons of the castle. So now it's down to us to find them. We find one of them guarding a door. Behind said door is another door, but this one is possessed. Possessed by Heartless, which of course would kick us a little ass. After leaving the dungeon with some new friends, we run into Beast, who was corrupted by someone from Organization 13. After a little brawl, he comes to his senses and joins us in finding Belle. When we do, we see that she's being chased by a Heartless, the first that I can recall that has 2 stages, but even if a Heartless had 50 stages, it would still count as 1 kill, so it's only going down as 1. After leaving Beast's castle, our ship gets pulled back to Hollow Bastion. Merlin is waiting for us and has found the 100-acre book. There will be no kills inside the book because it's a children's story. However, we do have some kills to count when we return to Hollow Bastion, as the book gets stolen. By the time we get it back, 11 Heartless have been taken out. And Pooh is having issues, but we can skip all that bullshit, because like I said, there is no fighting inside the Pooh book, and if there was, I would have added it at the end, but not now. That's just how the story goes. We haven't even landed in Olympus Coliseum yet, and Hercules is already sending people to the heavens. So, we're gonna have to add it, because no one can survive that trip with ease, as you can see. in the video. Upon actually landing ourselves, we land in an unknown part of town, that being the underworld. A conversation occurs with Hercules' lady friend, Meg, who wanted to talk to Hades. Us, being the junior heroes, we offer to take her place. When getting to Hades, things don't work out and instead we end up being chased. Powerless against him, we have to escape the underworld, taking out 22 Heartless along the way. Now, back on the surface, we see Hercules wearing thin, as we ourselves are getting weak in the underworld. With his help, however, we can regain the lost strength, so back into the underworld we go to find a medallion, and to find Meg, who has been taken by Hades. We do eventually pick up the medallion when going toe-to-toe with our first encounter with an Organization 13 member. With our regained strength, we save Meg and run into Pete, who wants to show us what for. But the bigger issue here is the Heartless here. Heartless he summons, there is about 10 you can kill. But I'm not 100% convinced they have to fight Heartless to pass this battle. So by that definition, I'm going to skip them out. Sorry folks, but sorry to take one out during a cutscene. Back on top, taken out in a cutscene, I didn't count that one. Huh. Well, if it's in the cutscene, some of them might be skipped out, but it'll all make sense later on anyway. Anyway, back on top, yet again, a monster has laid the Colosseum into rubbles. And the culprit? The Hydra. With Herc out of the picture, Megaena, the Flying Horse, and Philocrates join us in a battle and vanquish the Hydra once and for all. The little extra I'm going to add as we progress through the game. Tournaments will be unlocked, and these are canon. However, like I mentioned with Winnie the Pooh thing, we're going to be adding them at the end of the kill count, just before we fight the final boss, to give us a full rundown of everything, because there's no point going backwards and forwards all the time. So yeah, we're going back to Olympus to do this. We did this in number 1 as well, because you would think it's not canon, but the number 1 tournaments, you can see the trophies in number 2, so I'm counting that. I'm assuming the same happened for the 3rd game. The only one that isn't canon in this game is the Hades Cup, because you have to do some bullshit to do it. If I see the Hades Cup in the 3rd game, I will add that preemptively, but we'll soon see. Anyway, in the next world, which is kind of a 2-for-1, we land in Disney Castle, and this world is a little all over the place. When we land, Goofy and Donald reminisce while we are going to look for Queen Minnie. Issues have arisen in the castle, something that should have never happened, but now we need to investigate what's going on, which in turn leads us to defending Queen Minnie. Which you didn't really need to kill Arts to do this, so nothing is added here, but we do get to our destination, which is a door to the past. A past before Mickey was even king. While exploring the past, we find out that someone else has snuck into the past and brought Heartless along with them. Within these 4 doors, Heartless are wreaking havoc, and it's down to us to put a stop to it. For the first door, with a construction building, we take out, I think, 17. It's hard to count, seeing that Timeless River is all in black and white, so I will be doing my best. Anyway, in the second door, we have to protect a dining village. In doing so, we rack up 11 more kills. Along with the third door, a fire is burning strong, and of course, the Heartless have caused. And to stop the raging inferno, we have to take out 13 of the bitches. Onto the final door, and a black hole is sucking things up, and yet again more Heartless need to be taken out. 12 of them, to be exact. And that wraps it up for the kills in this world. Turns out Pete was behind it all, wanting to get some darkness in the castle. But that's all I'm saying on the matter. If you want to know more, then go play the games for yourselves. Also, a little side bit, after beating the main game, a person called the Lingering Will is added to the game. This is not in the original Kingdom Hearts game, but it is in the Final Mix Edition, which is not as canon because it's just like extra little challenges to do. So Lingering Will is not a part of the skill count, and plus he's already been counted before anyway in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. So go watch those. So the rules for Kingdom Hearts in Port Royal have changed just a little bit. For this next world, we are dealing with pirates, and these are the undead kind. And as Pete points out, we do have a special power that can actually kill these pirates. Unlike in the movie, where when they're in Moonlight, they're pretty much immune to death. But of course, Sora is not of this world, and he doesn't have a normal sword. He has a magic key. A magic key that unlocks people's deaths. And also, thunder is pretty powerful. So, expect the people count to skyrocket in this section alone. But anywho, let's get to the counting. The first set to be added to the list are 4 pirates who can be quickly destroyed with the thunder magic. Chasing after the other pirates into the smaller town, we run into Will, who is being surrounded by the Heartless. And of course, we go in and save the day, taking out 14 Heartless that was surrounding him. After meeting up with Captain Jack Sparrow, we chase after the Black Pearl towards Barbossa's hideout, which is Isla de Muerta. We do have some fights along the way, but you don't need to actually fight anything, because as the prompt states in the top left corner, it even states fight all the pirates or hide, and you can hide in the cabin, so they don't really need to be counted. The next time we do fight, however, is when we get chased down by the Black Pearl after taking back one of the Aztec pieces. During this fight, we take out 10 pirates. Some more pirate bullshit goes down and leads us to being captured by Barbossa and his skeleton crew. We team up with good old Jackie Boy to hunt down Barbossa to save Will. When we come face to face with him, we see 3 pirates in a cutscene and see Sora take care of one of them.
And now the blood will be repaid to free us from this curse forever. This time for sure.
Ahoy! Treasure, mateys!
Not possible.
Not probable. We were young and we're pirates.
Captain Jack Sparrow. Sora!
Donald Duck.
Goofy, too.
So you want to play pirate? Best save the play acting for the nursery. After them!
No more play acting now.
But I'm going to count this as 3 being killed here, as they don't have the same magic as, or the same powers as Heartless, who can just vanish off screen and they don't really care. And of course we've seen Sora actually kill these and turn them into shreds, so all 3 get counted. As this scene plays out, Pete comes out to play and aids Barbossa with a special Heartless, leading us into a boss battle. During the battle, I had to kill 2 of these special turning things to dark. And as we all know, the Curse of the Black Pearl movie ends with the death of Captain Barbossa, so we're going to add him on the list.
Right. Care to surrender, Barbossa? Well, enough of this then. What say you we call it a draw?
Jack, how many times do I have to tell you?
Laugh while you can, Barbossa.
I feel cold.
Now you see why I may have looked into Mulan's death and added him, but I'm going to keep him off the screen because that's what I decided to. And you'll see more bullshit later why I should have done that. But hey, past me was an asshole, or stupid, I guess. And now, the world I hate the most. Good old Agrippa. Not so bad in the first game, pain in the ass to navigate in the second game, unless it's the exact same. I don't remember. Anyway, in this world, we didn't even take one step before Heartless was coming after us. Iago wants to make friends with Aladdin and Jasmine, but during this conversation, 26 Heartless came knocking. After being chased away, we decide to pay Jasmine a visit, who tells us Aladdin is upset. When we find him, he tells us what the problem is. While doing so, we found out that a black lamp that Iago is locked away in, which also means that it is Jafar's lamp. In a trade to get the lamp, we need to offer up a treasure fit for our Sultan, which takes our adventure into the Cave of Wonders, which, after many unimportant fights, we come to a little floor-by-floor battle in which we take out 14 Heartless. This trial was only to get into the treasury room, where our trade item lies in wait. But following closely behind us is Pete, wanting to snag the lamp for himself. Pete must be getting smart because he knows we can take out Heartless quickly, but with the 50 that spawned on us, he can give himself time to go through with his plan. After chasing Pete down, we see him being a pest towards the peddler and chase him towards the palace, while our dear old friend Genie comes and joins in on the fun, making Pete feel humiliated, so naturally he brings out 2 big Heartless. Now, during this fight, I know both monsters can pop and spawn the ice cubes or the fire charges, but I'm not going to count the smaller ones, considering you don't really need to fight them. So if you pop the fire guy, the fire things turn up. If you pop the ice dude, the water dude, ice cubes turn up. However, if you take out one, you don't see the cutscene of one dying, so either way, I'm taking a wild stab that it doesn't happen. But it does happen, but again, like I just said, they pop into 20. I'm not counting the 20, just counting the 2. So I'm only adding 2 to the count. 1 fire, 1 water. You won't see me like ding the water one, but you'll see me ding the fire one, but it classifies as 2 fights. Anyway, just clearing that up. Going from one of my most hated worlds onto possibly my favourite. And my favourite is being Halloween Town. Now, it's only my favourite because of all the gothic and the Halloween shit. Just gotta love it. Anyway, if you know what happens in the film, then this doesn't need much explaining, as Jack is getting ready for Christmas. Shortly after our reunion, the town is attacked by 19 Heartless. With the threat of Heartless around, Jack comes to not so great idea and suggests that the trio should be bodyguards for Santa, and of course, without giving it much thought, Sora agrees. So, when they land in Christmas Town, there is already 6 super annoying Heartless waiting for them. We meet up with Sandy Claus and have a nice little chat just in time to see Lock, Shock and Barrel up to no good yet again. They make a quick escape and meet up with Maleficent, who in turn brings their old master back to life, Mr. Oogie Boogie. While the bag of bugs is resting, the little shits use the help of Maleficent with her Heartless to try and stop us in our tracks. But of course, it doesn't work and we get to add another kill to our count. Back in Halloween Town, Oogie is planning to steal Santa Claus for Maleficent so he can become a Heartless, but being a pile of bugs, his memory is god-awful. So instead, he plans to get revenge on Jack, and that's when we come in and to put him back in his grave once and for all. Donald does a step on a bug after Oogie's defeat, but I'm counting this still as part of Oogie Boogie, as he is some kind of pile of bug hive mind. See, now this is the thing about Oogie Boogie. He is constructed of a million bugs, and them collectively start talking for him, so it is mostly connected to one person here and not a million, because that would be a whole ordeal. But saying that, it is Halloween Town, so technically the million bugs does classify as one person. So, you know, it's all there. It's all there. It's Lion King time, baby! And we are already starting off with a death. Yes, I know this death is only shown in a dream, but we know it's a real death because it happens in the movie. So, let's start by adding Mufasa to the list. When landing, we appear as wildlife, and we landed in the bad part of town. Managing to escape some hungry hyenas, we run into Nala, who is being chased by 2 huge Heartless. For now, these will be counted as 2, but later in the level they are being ridden by another Heartless, so I will adjust accordingly. We follow Nala back to Pride Rock to see if we are worthy of becoming king. But sadly, we are not. So instead, we go on our merry travels to try and find Simba. Of course, we do, but he's a little down in the dumps. After a little cheering up, he agrees to come along to overthrow the king, and he does when he gets there. But on the fall down to Scar's demise, he turns into an Heartless, meaning it gets added to the list of Now the battle really begins. And after a very easy fight, we take care of the Heartless Scar, adding him a second time to our list. When we first started the game, we did a little exploring inside Twilight Town, and we didn't count the kills. Again, I'm not going to explain that just yet, but for now we are going to be adding more because we're playing as Sora, and the person we played as, Roxas, is not around at this point in time. So, when we left, the gate closed. What? Hang on, let me read this again. When we first started the game, we did a little exploring of this world, but nothing. And when we left, the town closed its gates to us. The town is now opened up to us again, so we can go check on those guys and see how we are. However, when we land, one of the two gangs in town is already in trouble. So it's time to vanquish some nobodies. 10 of them, in fact. The entire time we have been playing as Sora, we've been dealing with Heartless, and now nobodies have come to say hello. It's safe to say that the second act of the game has finally begun. Yes, we did fight a few Heartless at the beginning of the game, nobodies. However, this is the turning point. That number for nobodies is going to skyrocket from 50 to whatever it is, and we're not even killed 1,000 Heartless yet. That's going to be fun. It's back to Hollow Bastion we go, but I'm not going to be using the backing track for Hollow Bastion because this section of the count is all about Tron. When we land in Hollow Bastion, we see Heartless and nobodies roaming the town. We meet up with the gang and get told about a computer that could have some vital information about the Heartless, nobodies, organization, or our dear missing friends. When we come into contact with the computer, we get sucked in because of Donald being an absolute douchebag, which of course makes sense, and we end up inside the computer to meet up with Tron. He wants us to find his user to help him get back his strength. So with a little digging, we leave to get the information we need, then head back in, only to find that Tron is missing. Not only that our lives are at stake, as the Master Control program would like to play the game, in this first game all we have to do is take out 5 Heartless. Easy as. Now, at the beginning of the game, I didn't add anything to the count because of reasons. Like I said, I'm going to add those later. But I'm going to add them here because yes, this world may be in a computer. However, if you don't know the story of Tron, then well, real people did get sucked into a machine in the first place, so there were real people in here that did turn into Heartless. So, there you go. After this game is over, we see Tron looking a little worse for wear. On the way to the mainframe, we hack into the main system, and while waiting around for it to boot up, we have to deal with 21 Heartless. Before it's fully operational again. Now with a new location opened up, we see some dark energy being uploaded to Hollow Bastion. But for now, we have some more loose ends to tie up, like this monster who wants to de-res us. Now I'm unsure if this is a Heartless. I didn't see no logo, nor did I see a heart leave its body. So, in the other section, it goes, I just believe it's just a machine that kills you, I guess. And now it comes to the real section of Act 2. So it comes to this. This section I was dreading the most. In this part of the game, we will have to count both Heartless and nobodies in the same fights, along with the whopping 1,000 Heartless that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But first off, when we leave Tron's world, we have a nice little talk with Mickey Mouse, who tells us the truth about Ansem during the convo. All hell breaks loose in town. Heartless and nobodies are raiding the streets, and the first on this list to count is just right outside our door, as we see the nobodies and Heartless fighting each other, and in this first scene, 3 Heartless fall to the nobodies. That's when we step in, taking out 7 Heartless for ourselves and the 8 nobodies that was doing the damage. A little side note though, it is very hard to count how many enemies I'm killing in these fights, so I'm doing the best I can with screenshots on my Xbox. Leaving the main castle, 3 more nobodies are waiting for us, but it doesn't take long for the trio to take them out in a cutscene.
We don't have time for you.
Just like I said, there is going to be so many to count after running into After running into Sephiroth, after those last 3 nobodies, we see Leon taking on 3 Heartless. We do see him kill one of them, but it's motherfucking Leon, dude. Of course he's going to kill them all.
We'll help.
That's when Sora steps to help, but he has other problems as he enters a fight with 15 nobodies. A series of cutscenes play out where we see Leon, Cloud, Tifa, Stitch, and the 3 little fairies, and even Sephiroth racking up some kills, which is a lot. So let's break it down by what we see and go from there. So first up we have Stitch, who we see shooting 3 blasts and one of them kill. So I'm taking that all 3 shots kill at least 1 Heartless. Next up we have the 3 fairies, who end up pushing a Heartless off a cliff, and I'm counting this one because back in the Tron world, a Heartless died when driving into the wall, so yeah. Then we see Leon and Cloud taking on some Heartless, and we see quite a few on the screen. So let's buff up our numbers and all these to count, because these can easily fight this many Heartless. So in total from this scene we are adding at least 50 from the one scene I saw.
Think you can handle this many?
Well, might be tough if one more shows up.
Then that'll have to be the one I take care of.
What? You're fighting too?
The scene fades out to show Cloud now fighting on his own. So it's safe to say those 50 died, and this time, while on his own, he takes out 2 more Heartless. Right before the one-winged angel himself comes along and takes out 7 in one swing, making the other Heartless back off very quickly. And to finish off this entire scene, we see the much-loved Tifa take out 5 of them, just like before we saw 5 on the screen, so I'm going to take it at that. Tifa did take them all out.
Cloud! Wait! Huh?
Now it's Sora's turn. With so much pain when I first played this game, it was a very hard boss fight that nearly broke me. Dance What a Dance haunted my dreams, but now I haunt his! Because I got better at the game. Take that, Demix, you fuck.
Oh, no way!
After the fight, we lose a faithful companion. It's sad, and we should all shed a tear. Anyway, after the loss of a dear friend, we meet up with Yuffie, who helps us to get revenge by taking out 29 Heartless. We're then on to run into Leon, who also is giving us helping hand by taking out 42 more Heartless. Along comes Miss Lockhart, ruining my chances of getting screenshots as a Heartless turns up, and this is the best you're gonna get as we take out 34 more.
I'll help.
I hate Final Fantasy VII characters because bloody Cloud does the exact same thing! Taking out Heartless before I could even count them, so have this other clip of us taking out what I believe to be 36 Heartless. But hey, our friend comes back to join us up, and this is where we gotta deal with that 1,000 Heartless I mentioned earlier. Hurrah! And even after all that work, we get one little glimpse of King Mickey taking out just the one measly Heartless. Even though we just took out 1,000. Good job, King Mickey. On the approach, we see 3 more people from the organisation, and the truth is told to Sora. A power struggle begins between Maleficent and one of the members. In said struggle, 5 Heartless are taken out by the Nobodies.
Fool.
And Maleficent falls to Sayax in this struggle, which in turn forces Sora to fight some more on his own. In this little fight, Sayax tells Sora why they need the Heartless, which makes Sora question everything, only killing 4 in this fight. As Act 2 begins, we are now revisiting all the worlds one by one. And in this visit of Land of Dragons, we are chasing down Nobodies and the organisation, who just so happens to be running away from us when we land. A little game of cat and mouse ensues, chasing the coated man up to the summit, and have a little sword fight with someone resembling the same fighting techniques as Riku. The guy throws the battle and runs off towards the town, just before a dragon flies overhead towards the palace. When we arrive, we are greeted by some familiar faces and 7 Heartless waiting to gang up on us. We know that the Emperor is in danger once more, so when getting into the palace we run into another Blackcoat. Thinking that it's Riku, Sora approaches and sees it is someone else, who just so happens to summon 12 Nobodies around us, forcing us to add them to the list. We go and check up on the Emperor to see if he's doing okay, but that Dragon Familiar has come back to die. We're adding him to the count. My personal little theory is that it's Shan Yu, but there's no confirmation of that. And again, I probably should have added Shan Yu because he might have died in the movie, and I'm not too sure because I've only seen Mulan like twice and I don't remember it. So, apologise on my past's behalf.
When arriving for the second time inside the Beast Castle, we see him all dressed up and looking dapper. It's a very important date night for Beast, but we all know Donald is a nosy duck, so he wants to gate crash. But good thing he did too, because inside the ballroom there is 5 nobodies waiting for us. After the encounter with the organization member Zaldin, Beast ends up giving up on hope and wants to wallow in his pity. But of course, Sora is the hero and can reawaken his lost courage. In doing so, we pursue the man in black, who ends up bringing out 8 nobodies for us to vanquish. So back in the old days, the last fight of this world is one of the hardest fights in the game. However, that is if you don't know how to use magic or play the game well. And knowing this new magic spell, well, after learning how to play the game properly after so many years of being obsessed with this game, the power or the magic spell Reflect is an absolute godsend when fighting and killing Zaldin, making it one of the easiest fights I have ever done this time around. Adding Mr. Number 3 of the Organization 13 to our list.
Now that we have entered the second visit to Olympus, I'm unsure what to do about it. I was going to save the cup kills to the very end, because they are indeed canon. I'm just confused because when we land here again, Hades has a special cup lined up for us. Pauses in between, so I guess this is story related? I'm just not sure. Anyway, we enter the cup with Herc by our side, and in his first match we take out 6 Heartless. Now that we have entered the second visit to Olympus, I'm unsure what to do about it. I was going to save the cup kills to the very end, because they are indeed canon. I'm just confused because when we land here again, Hades has a special cup lined up for us. Pauses in between, so I guess this is story related? I'm just not sure. Anyway, we enter the cup with Herc by our side, and in his first match we take out 6 Heartless. Good thing I just had to add this because it was only a 3-round thing. The real tournament would be like 40 fights, which will be added to the end anyway. In the semi-finals, we take out Heartless. We take out Heartless apparently. How many did I kill? 8. Ha! We take out 8 Heartless. See? It's a good thing I added a timer. Past me. Fucking proofread. Anyway, after the semi-finals, we find out that the final for us is against Orin. But he has no idea who we are, But he has no idea who? Right, this is what I put down because I'm so good at writing. After the semi-finals, we find out that the final for us is against Orin. But he has no idea who we, so Sora does a little investigation. I think it's supposed to be we have no idea who we are. So Sora does a little investigation and finds out Hades has a hold on him. Hercules takes some punches so we can go find out what's up. When we do, we get surrounded by 11 nobodies, which of course are not that hard to take out. The world may have ended with Hades falling into the cesspool, but he does return in the next game of the timeline, so like always won't be getting added. So like always, it won't be getting added. Also, I should like to mention there is Paradox Cups in this game, which are like bonus cups. I don't know if they're canon or not. I don't believe they are because you don't get any trophies for it. There's like little things. I don't have the PS2 version. Excuse me. Of Kingdom Hearts 2, so I can't really go check. But after he falls into the cesspool, Hades is around anyway to the Paradox Cup. So yeah, he's not gone because it's Lord of the Dead and all that shit. Back in the land of pirates at Pirate Central again, so those kills for the people category will be going up also. So let's start things off with running into Captain Jack Sparrow again, who is giving up an lousy fight with 3 undead pirates. And if you have forgotten, because of our magic, these pirates can actually die. After their easy defeat, Elizabeth comes running up saying Will is in trouble. With an easy rescue, a decision was made to return to land, but instead, another member of the organization has come to bargain. leaving behind a lonely Heartless, who I thought was defeated when he sank to the bottom of the ocean, but instead it rose from the dead looking like a skeleton, all because of a nasty plan from the Black Coat, who just had to steal some of the gold. This encounter makes our ship explode, and well, we need to catch up to the gambler after finding land. After a shipwreck, we come face to face to one of the nobodies that stole a piece of the gold. After getting rescued, we go on the hunt for more gold. Landing back at the Isle de Muerta, we come across 3 nobodies who have the gold we are looking for. And we also had to fight off 5 pirates for one of those. After getting all the gold missing from the chest, we go back to where we believe it could be hiding, in which makes the Heartless from earlier appear. And this time, we ain't giving up until it's dead. It did take a while though. Back in the land of sand and magic, we quickly learn that the now rich peddler let Jafar out of his lamp, which just screams bad news. We are told by the bloody pigeon that he was in the desert ruins, a place where we haven't been before, and while we are chasing down what appears to be a ghost, we are encountered by 11 Heartless. The fight ends and the chase continues, leading us towards a dead end where 8 more Heartless turn up. After all that chasing, we found out it was all a ruse to get us away from the palace, all in an attempt to help Jafar kidnap an underage girl. Yep, that's Disney for you. We headed back to the palace just in time to save Jasmine and go toe to toe with Jafar. And unlike the battle in Kingdom Hearts 1, Jafar is perished for good. Added him to the count once and for all. I don't know if I added him into the other not, but I don't think I did, even though he's a genie. Well, I'm dumb. Past me was dumb. Back to the town of Halloween World again, where we return to seeing Jack still wearing his Christmas gear, picking up presents and taking them back to Santa Claus. With our help, of course. With our help? It says without, but I'm assuming it meant with our, so don't put a space without. Interesting. When we go to see him, the 3 little shitheads are causing a ruckus, so naturally we think it's these hooligans stealing the gifts that I didn't mention. I didn't mention that. Wow, I'm dumb. We head back to Halloween Town to find the real culprits. The Heartless are at it again, and we are tasked to stop them from taking any more. So in the first fight of our second visit, we vanquish 6 Heartless. A plan comes to mind for our heroes, a plan that requires them to make fake presents for the thief. With the help of Santa Claus, they lure the thief to behind his workshop and a battle ensues, just to find out it was one of Dr. Finkelstein's inventions. Just to take it out and add it to our list. The list of the weird fucking other section. We're lying again, and honestly, nothing much actually happens in this revisit. We arrive, we see the ghost of Scar, only because Simba has doubts about being a king. So as some good friends that we are, we track him down and have a word with him. It takes a few attempts and he comes around, finally getting rid of the ghost. But in the wake of his vanishing, a giant Heartless takes his place, which is a giant monkey totem thing riding a dinosaur. Yes, it has 1 health bar, but 2 heart symbols. Space Paranoid 2 time! So for this visit we do return to Hollow Bastion for a 4th time, but when we arrive in town the first set of Heartless that attacks us are the same ones that can be found inside Tron's world. So this segment is a mix of Hollow Bastion and Space Paranoids. So I'm just putting this all down as the Space Paranoids, which is great. Oh, and by the way, with that last fight we did take out 5 Heartless. I just don't know why I put that in there. After the fight, we have a little talk with within the Restoration Committee, who tells us that the MCP is causing a mess and sending out Heartless into the real world. This is why I counted them when we first went into Tron's world, by the way, and not why we counted them in the beginning. A scene plays out where we get a nice view of Leon taking out 2 Heartless with 1 swing. With Leon in need of some help, we end up going to see him, and all he tells us is that Tron is out of commission. So we enter the computer once more to find and help Tron. We do eventually catch up to him, but he is in a spot of bother. And here we are to save the day, taking out 8 Heartless in the process. Back in the outside world, Leon has with him a data disk that can put the town back to normal. In a rush in coming to help us, we witness him take out 3 more Heartless. Anyway, back inside the machine, Sora and Tron are getting surrounded by more Heartless, which is actually helpful as it gives Leon enough time to get the disc to us. During that fight, 9 more Heartless fall to the Keyblade. After getting to the tower, Leon manages to upload a program to Tron, giving him power to shut down the MCP, and a flight program too. On the solo flight, we are hounded by, I'll admit, a countless amount of Heartless. They spawned as soon as I killed them. I only managed to document 14 kills, so we will have to go with that for now. Getting to the mainframe with the newly powered up Tron gave us a strange fight against Sark, who was quickly routed. The MCP got pissed and gave his power to the defeated Sark, making him huge and the MCP weaker, giving us the chance to finish it off once and for all. Side note, we don't see, this is the thing I was referring to. This is why I should have looked into Shan Yu, because of what it's about to be said now. Anyway, the side note is what I put here. We don't see what happens to Sark in the game. We see the MCP getting destroyed, but with a quick Google search, I learned that Sark dies in the movie. So I'm going to add him here on the other. So I'm going to add MCP onto the other and a human for the Sark into the count. I was going to add all the Bastions to the count as well as it turns back to Radiant Garden, but in thinking about it, I didn't do that to Destiny Islands when it got swallowed up by the black thing. You know, when you play the first Kingdom Hearts game and that freaking dark cloud swallowing it, I didn't count Destiny Islands then, so I won't be counting Hollow Bastion as it returns to Radiant Garden. So, past me was a dumbass because I would have done that, but my rules were then, I'm sticking to the same rules now. That was my own bullshit. This is where I might be mentioning the why I've not killed anything in Twilight Town when we played as Roxas, because we are back in it yet again. We are approaching the end too, which is quite nice. We came back to this town because when we was fighting against the massive horde of Heartless, we were left with a picture of the Twilight Gang, plus Roxas. We get to town and go searching for the mansion in the photo. Upon arrival, we see the crew laid out on the floor, as they got beaten by some nobodies. After having a little talk about an alternate Twilight Town, the nobodies came back for round 2. The first one to perish was by the King's Hand. But the remaining 15 was taken out by Sora, Donald, and Goofy. So now here comes the tricky part. We did go through this alternate reality with Roxas already, and I vowed at the start that any kills in this area was not going to be counted. However, we are now playing as Sora, who did go into this realm from a computer, only to enter a dark space. Inside this dark space, it's unlike the fake town, and death can happen, as you will soon find out. With that being said, we do get attacked by nobodies, and in this fight, we end up taking out 6 of the fuckers. In the cutscene that follows, Axel comes to the rescue and takes out 2 of the nobodies before he gets jumped, and Sora, being the good guy wanting to save everyone who breathes, he ends up taking out 3 on his own. Those 3 I forgot to add to the count, because I'm done. Another battle ensues with Sora and Axel. With Sora and Axel teaming up together against nobodies. Again, I tried to do my best and I ended up with a total of 19 of them dying. The nobodies kept coming and coming with no signs of stopping. Axel, being the legend that he is, he turns his back on the organisation, putting everything he has into one final killing attack. From what I could see, a whopping 330 nobodies was taken out with this attack. With this attack though, it also rings the bells for Axel's maker, meaning the attack took literally everything he had, wiping himself out just to save Sora.
Axel.
I am also going to mention, because I thought I'd talk about it here, when you play as Roxas and you're fighting nobodies with the struggle bat magically turns into a key, which is like a program. You can see it like all glitching and turning into it. Same with the nobodies. The nobodies turn up, they glitch out and put things around, but it can manifest things in the real world, so it looks like the nobodies are there to train something like that, and it's only data. I didn't add it because at that point Roxas isn't real, it's just a memory of Roxas putting things together just to help Sora reawaken. But it's so confusing, this section, because then I added it for Sora, but in the world you didn't see anything, but there was like a little world between where Axel comes from. Also, why I reason didn't add it is because at the beginning of the game, you play as Roxas and the entire town freezes for some unknown reason. Like, Roxas is talking with Axel, and Axel's like about to fight with Roxas, but then it freezes. So it's just really, really bizarre. So we made it all to the last level of the game, the world that never was. When we arrive, the entire world is overrun by Heartless. But after a few turns around some corners, Sora slips into a daze and ends up in the dream world. This is where I'm lost on what to do. This fight is basically Sora fighting his nobody self, Roxas. But at this point in the timeline, Roxas is already dead. We did all that at the beginning of the game. But in the cutscene that happens after the fight, we get a nice scene of Roxas and Axel saying goodbye to each other as he goes into the light. Now I know this fight is basically Roxas' heart within Sora's that's testing him if he is ready for what's to come. Hence why it happens. But I'm just unsure if I should add Roxas to the list. That being said though, we do have another section on our account, so I guess we could add him there? That's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, after the fight we approach the building of the Organisation 13, where the last segment before the final boss begins. We have many things ahead of us, rooms full of Heartless, nobodies, and not to mention all the members of the organisation that we all will be counting. The path opens up to us thanks to the power of Kairi and Nominate inside the castle. Upon entering, a cutscene is played out where we see the lovely ladies being targeted by Sayax, but a man in black comes to the rescue, taking out two nobodies to free the damsels. I was getting ready to throw hands as we entered a rectangular room. I know it's where a future fight takes place, but instead countless Heartless come and ruin my fun with Sayax. To ruin my fun with Sayax running his mouth, trying to get Sora angry, and just to prove his point, Kairi enters the picture to only get cornered by 5 Heartless. Luckily, the man in black from before comes to the rescue, taking out those Heartless. He becomes the nice man in my books because he gives my childhood crush her very own Keyblade. But I love that! And with it, she takes her own Heartless out. Only 2, but it's something. Anyway, there were still 6 more left standing when the stranger readied his own weapon, and I think it's safe to say that those 6 also got defeated. Magically, a scene change happens where we are seeing what Mickey is up to. In his climb of the castle, we see him take out 1 Neo Shadow and 2 basic nobodies, where he sees a man laying down injured with 6 more nobodies crowded around him. It's safe to say that these 6 do die, even though, like always, we see 3 of them get defeated. I'd like to point out that during this entire kill count, I've seen the Nobodies and Heartless wrap up quite nicely for their kills. It's like Square was doing their own count to make it even. It's bizarre, because at this point in time, we've got 500 Nobody kills and 1 shy of a Heartless kill, which is very bizarre. Anyway, well, obviously at this point it would be like 1685, by the way. Anyway, back to the counting, where more Heartless hit the high road by someone else's hands. This time, Xigbar says boo, taking out 14 Heartless that was crowding around Sora, Donald, and Goofy. With the Heartless out of the way, Xigbar comes to us for a one-on-one, and this fight is just annoying. But I don't know how to play Kingdom Hearts, and Donald helped me beautifully. By that he used Cure, because if you don't know how to fucking play Kingdom Hearts, Donald is actually grand. Learn to play the game if you fucking hate Donald. He can help you. Just learn how to play the game. For fuck's sake. All people who are masters of the game, well, I'm not saying a master, but people who like can beat this game with their eyes closed know that Donald is helpful if you know how to fucking work with him. Anyway, and with that help that Donald helped us, we take out Xigbar, removing him from Kingdom Hearts 2 and adding him to the count.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Hey, hold on.
But I would like to say though, I did fuck up somewhere. After taking out Xigbar, we run into Kairi, and the man in black, who it turns out is Riku, is mistake number 1. Ansem did die in the first game, however, a fragment of that darkness remained within Riku, and is still with him at this current point in time, which I did not mention in not Birth by Sleep. The other one. Chain of Memories. Anyway, after reuniting with the Destiny Trio, we come across a room with 13 gates. All but 3 are red, meaning death. And we have counted them all as dead too. This is where mistake number 2 comes in. In a previous kill count, I did count Roxas as dead. However, we fought him inside our own heart, so to speak, but from this room, this gate is still lit up, which means he is not yet dead. All of the gates that are there, there's 12 gates, all of them are red apart from 3, which is Syx, who we've not fought, Lordix, who we've not fought at this point, and then there were Roxas, which you can't enter because his gate's being destroyed, which is probably by some jealousy of Axel to protect him, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, in this room is 2 gates. One gate leads us to Luxord. Inside the gate we have a game of chance with Luxord, and with this, the gambling man meets his end.
How could you, Roxas?
That's Sora!
But I stated there was 2 rooms that was lit up. Luxord is now marked red, leaving 1 left. And beyond that door is Syx, which, well, goes down easy the most fights we've had, seeing as my aerial combos are top notch, and also I like going berserk on his body, and thus marks the death of.
Why? Kingdom Hearts. Where is my heart?
After that battle, the final door opens up to the path to the top of the castle. On the way out, we run into Ansem, Ansem the Wise, who has set up a beam to encode Kingdom Hearts. This backfires and causes the machine to explode. Now, I did do a little more digging, because I wasn't sure if this blast actually killed Ansem the Wise. The original plot point was yes, it did kill him, but in a later game we find out he ends up in the realm of darkness. But on this kill count, that still counts as death, as we did for Aqua and Terra. But anyway, so Ansem does still go on the list. I'm just pointing that out because in the original Kingdom Hearts 2 game that was not the final mix, he didn't die. Oh, he did die, and it was like, I think it was in maybe Dream Drop Distance he died. He doesn't die because he talks with Aqua. Some bullshit like that. After this explosion goes off, we can see Riku lying on the floor, looking like his old self again. In a flashback, we saw Riku give in to the darkness of his heart, where the heartless Ansem was laying in wait. But that blast destroyed the dark part inside of him, so now we can finally add Ansem on the kill count for good, because we shouldn't have added him in the first game because he technically didn't die, but now he did. Before we move on to the final fight, we have a few more things that need to be wrapped up. And one of those things is Atlantica, the Little Mermaid world. This world, in general, needed about 3 to 4 visits, but I've saved it till next to the last thing to do so I can have the entire story played out in one go. And the story goes like this. In a quick summary, we arrive at Atlantis and Ariel is in love with a human. And well, Sebastian is putting on a musical to try and lift her spirits and to stop her from falling in love with a human. But anyway, we join in, have some fun, we do a little sing-song and dance, but King Triton, being an asshole as he is like, nuh-uh, you ain't having no humans, you're being trapped in the sea with me, so, you know, fish life over human life. But anyway, seeing that Ariel is upset, Ursula comes along and gives a chance to Ariel, lets Ariel have a chance to actually bond with Eric up on top being a human. But of course, all she has to do here, Ariel just signs a contract, signs a life away to become a human, but in return, Ursula has her voice. But it's all a ruse because Ursula is using this to try and entrap King Triton for her own being, just to get the Trident of Power. Anyway, Sora be having none of that shit and steps in to put Ursula in her place. A song plays out in a battle between Sora and Ursula. In this battle, Flotsam and Jetsam try to do their little sneaky things, but of course, Sora being the good guy, actually kills both of the fish. And shortly after the two fishies go down, Ursula tries her chance of taking us out, but again, we prevail, and we take the giant Trident out of her hands, and Eric, the good guy Eric, being probably a few years older than Ariel at this point, goes for the kill instead of us with one quick throw towards Ursula, putting an end to her reign and adding her to the count.
That belongs to me!
All right, then. You can have it!
Before we get into the final fight, there is one more visit that we need to go to, and that is going back to Olympus Coliseum. Like I mentioned just a few moments ago, there is cups to deal with, and we've got all of them played out here. Anyway, so as we are wrapping up things in the actual canon of events, we went through the Winnie the Pooh world. Like I said, doesn't have any counts, but all it is there for is to make sure that Winnie the Pooh remembers us, and that's all good. But the bigger issue here, like I said, is the tournaments that we done. I've not done any of them. I'll save them all to the end because there were nice little things to do, which is easier to do at the end. Anyway, I was not looking forward to this, but here we go. Anyway, so in the first tournament, we'll deal with a total of 66 Heartless over 8 rounds. And in the second tournament, we take out less Heartless, which is around 50, and over 9 rounds, which was far less. nobodies. However, the next cup after, we have to take out Heartless and Nobodies. For the Heartless, we take out 22, and with the Nobodies, we take out 26, putting it even less than the first round, which is shockingly only 8 rounds as well. Now we're on to the final cup, where in this cup, a total of 36 Heartless and 4 Nobodies were put to shame and taken out. Well, guess what happened after taking that final cup? There was a 4th one that unlocked. It just pops up after taking out the last cup, where you fight Hades, which is very nice. This cup, from what I can gather, is not canon to the story. So there's 4 podiums in total. Have I counted that one? Yeah. So there's 4 podiums in total. After when you do the 4th one, you have to go talk to Hades and do the 4 previous cups as paradox forms, but you can only unlock them once you've got certain criteria. The criteria states of like, you go to Hades and suggest, yep, you should be level 80, which is way after the final battle, because like, when I fought the final, like on my own, say when I'm trying to get like everything sorted with one more chest, I'm like level 89 for that one. So you want to be level 80. It requires all of your forms to be maxed, which in mine I'm on like level 2, maybe 3 or some of them, because I rarely use them. In my own save, I've got all of them maxed out apart from the master form, and it also requires you to have all summons maxed out too. Again, I never use summons in the story, in the kill count stuff. Even in my own, I never use them anyway because I don't really find them that beneficial, and I need to max those out, and I've not even done that yet. So I've not even got the cups done in my own playthrough. So that's why I don't think they are canon. Anyway, let's move on to the next and final section. So back into the world that never was. The final fight is now upon us with some badass music, you might know. In this fight, we go, I think, against 3 different stages of Xemnas. But first things first, there is a dragon-like spaceship, and to get it to explode, we have to go through Nobodies. And we have to throw Nobodies into the engine to blow it up. In the first segment, I threw 11 of the damn things. And for the second segment, I threw in 14. We jump back to the first, take out 7 more. Sadly, at this point, my Xbox was not letting me allowed to have any more screen captures, so we didn't catch any of the 7 that died there, and we had to do it a 4th time jumping back to take out just 3, but again, I could not capture those, but just take my word for it. Anyway, inside the dragon, we are now tasked to take out the energy core. However, during this, nobody's come along and to stop us. And during that stuff, like, usually a lot of things like this, oh, you don't have to fight the Nobodies, but you had to fight the Nobodies to lower the engine again. And in that section, we took out 11. Anyway, after taking out the dragon, it makes Xemnas falter and fall to his knees. The gang all watch him as he fades away. Now this would be classified as a kill, but this was just a ruse. The castle begins to crumble, with no way to escape, but thankfully Naminé comes to the rescue and gets everybody out. This scene plays out during that time.
Thank you, Naminé. Sure. See? We meet again, like we promised.
Huh?
You said we'd meet again. But when we did, we might not recognize each other.
I did, didn't I?
But I knew you.
It's strange.
I think I understand. I see myself the way you remember me. And you see yourself the way I remember you.
I always thought nobodies were doomed to fade back into darkness.
Yeah. But you and I didn't. We got to meet our original selves.
So, we can be together again.
Right. Anytime Sora and Kairi are together.
We'll be together every day. Right, Sora?
Yeah.
Look sharp.
Adding Roxas and Naminé to the count, because this marks the end of their nobody selves. Because Naminé is the nobody of Kairi, and Roxas, as we already know, is the nobody of Sora. Anyway, the door sadly closes behind us, and the dragon from before wakes from its slumber, going on an all-out attack to get revenge on Sora and Riku. But the pair were far too powerful for the beast, putting it out of its misery, forcing Xemnas to use all the power he has for the final fight of the game, thus adding the dragon to the count. With the fight over, thanks to the help of Riku and the pure speed of dodging all the lasers, the duo managed to throw together their best at the lead of the organization, marking the end of the journey and starting off the next, thus killing Xemnas once and But a little plot for you in the back wings, I don't know why I said that. When the Heartless and a nobody dies of the same being, that original person comes back to life, which only means Ansem and Xemnas are not gone for good, being that Ansem was dead for sure when the thing blew up, and Xemnas being killed just now means the original Xehanort is back. However, at the very end of the fight, just after Xemnas dies of a fuck ton of nobody spawning, and I mean loads. After a bright flash, we see a few of them die, but it's clear to see that they all died. On a pan around the room, you can see a staggering 264 nobodies. They could even be more than that because there were so many to count and it only showed you half of the room. It seemed like it was going in like rows of 6 each, but I don't know how many rows there were. So 264 was my best guess, and that's all I could manage to count anyway on the screen.